Hello everybody, it's Doug here. In this video, I'll explain how and why I made a 3/4 size replica of Brian May's Red Special guitar. This unusual project, which I started in 2013 and completed in late 2014, suffered from dramatic scope creep, and it was my first foray into modifying guitars. In December 2017, I got the opportunity to present this to Brian in person, backstage, at a Queen plus Adam Lambert concert in Glasgow, and he signed it for me. The guitar body and neck are made from solid, genuine mahogany, and the fretboard is ebony. Some of the hardware, including the smaller control knobs and the tremolo arm, are custom made. The roller bridge and tremolo component parts are made for a full-size Red Special. The pickups are Burns mini trisonic units, which are intended for retrofitting to guitars with standard single-coil pickups, such as Fender Stratocasters. Their electromagnetic characteristics are different to typical Brian May specification trisonic pickups, with higher DC resistance and lower inductance, as can be seen from the comparison table I'm showing you on the screen now. My original intention was to further modify my 2012 Brian May guitars Mini May by routing the body to accept 3 mini trisonic pickups and the necessary switches and wiring. I drew up a design sketch using CAD software to see whether the hardware would fit and still retain the aesthetic appearance of the iconic original Red Special. The render sequence you can see on the screen now shows the result of this design study. We'll return to this later when I talk you through the eventual extent of the modification work. Having satisfied myself that the scope of the modifications was practically achievable, I first set about stripping the finish off the Mini May, expecting to find a single-piece body that I could simply stain and re-lacquer. In fact, the body was made from 4 offcuts of different coloured woods glued together. Also, the finish consisted of a thick layer of clear grain filler and multiple top coats. So at this stage it was obvious that my original plan was unachievable, and the first scope change involved keeping the original guitar's neck, but designing and making a new body. My YouTube videos cover a wide range of topics related to Brian May's musical equipment, and further information on all my projects is available on my website, dsgb.net. Please support my work by liking, commenting and subscribing here on YouTube, and follow me on social media platforms including Facebook, Instagram and Pinterest. I bought a slab of Honduras mahogany toned wood large enough to accommodate the 3/4 size Red Special body, and noting that it has a cathedral feature and I preferred linear grain pattern on the upper surface, I used a paper template to decide on the optimal position. I didn't buy my own CNC machine until October 2016, which was some 3 years away, so I decided to use a commercial CNC company to cut the body, rather than spend time preparing router templates and routing it myself. Thankfully, they did a very good job, as you can see from these pictures, which include the original Mini May neck for comparison purposes. The next job involved manually carving a rebate to accommodate the tremolo knife edge plate, which is designed to allow Burns and BMG Special guitars to be converted to the authentic Red Special sprung tremolo system. This was challenging to execute neatly because of the limited access for hand tools. I aimed to leave a 1mm overhang on the upper surface, where this is just the thickness of the veneer on authentic Red Special replicas. Next, I turned my attention to the electronics sub-assembly, which I elected to mount on a custom-made flat aluminium plate which sits flush with the underside of the pickguard. The restricted space in which to mount the full-size Switchcraft switches, 2 potentiometers and a treble-cut capacitor caused further headaches, so I resolved to trim the switch mounting lugs to leave protruding ears, one on each side. I drilled and secured these with small-diameter stainless steel machine screws and nylock nuts. I bought a hobby electronics kit containing various lengths of jumper wire to confer some additional structural rigidity on the on-off and phase switching assembly. With the electronic components secured in position, I cut a paper template representing the pickguard set and laid this on the body to check for correct fit before committing to get one CNC cut from gloss black acrylic plastic. Although this was fit for purpose, I redesigned it and cut a new one myself at a later date to correct some unsatisfactory aesthetic elements. Before moving on from this stage, I fitted and positioned the hardware and inserted the original Mini May neck in the tenon pocket to assess how everything would look, and if I'm honest, because I started to get excited about the progress I'd made thus far. At this stage, I also drilled bolt mounting holes in the neck rebate and routed the edges to accept 4x2mm plain white edge binding with a small laminate trimmer router. Then I glued this in place with cyanoacrylate superglue. This again proved quite challenging due to the tight return angles from the cutaways to the tongue on which the neck is mounted. I filled inevitable gaps with fine white epoxy putty. At this point, I began to harbour significant doubts about marrying an authentic-looking mahogany guitar body with the original Mini May neck, because this was made from light-coloured wood and a rosewood fretboard which didn't have the correct marker dot pattern. This led inevitably to the second major scope change of this project: design and make a replacement neck from mahogany with an ebony fretboard featuring the correct marker dot pattern. So it was back to the drawing board, figuratively speaking of course, because this meant another opportunity to develop my basic CAD software skills. I broke down the neck into 5 separate parts: headstock, main section and tenon, and then joined these together with 2 transition sections. I don't want to go into any more detail on the CAD design process in this brief overview video. If you are interested in how I designed my full-size Brian May Red Special neck some years later, after I had optimised my design and improved my CAD skills, please check out my video published at the end of July 2023. Having finalised my design, and accepted that I was going to have to carry out some manual shaping of the transition sections, I sent the file and a mahogany neck blank off to a CNC routing specialist to have the neck made for me. The result was very expensive but highly satisfactory, as I hope you can see in this selection of photographs. Next, I needed to evaluate and test a suitable finish, that is, grain filler and wood stain. I produced a series of videos covering grain filling, staining and lacquering mahogany on a Brian May Red Special replica in early 2022, so again I won't go into any details in this video. Suffice to say that I settled on a mixture of red and brown Rustin's wood stain. This can look chestnut brown or orange depending on the colour temperature of the ambient light source and the camera angle. With the guitar now stained, it was ready for lacquer. I wanted a durable, professional finish without the hassle of learning this specialist skill for myself. So I found a reliable company, Spectrum Guitar Finishes, which was a UK company that relocated to Spain. The body and neck were coated in polyurethane lacquer, buffed to a high gloss shine, then shipped back. The result was excellent, although I learned to my cost that poly lacquer can easily lift when drilled, and care is needed. Since this video is intended to be a brief overview of my first guitar modification and build project, and I didn't document it comprehensively with photographs or video in 2013 and 2014, I'll bring it to a conclusion at this point. If you would like further information on the background work supporting this project, please visit my website, dsgb.net. Let's finish then with some short demonstrations of the instrument's capabilities by Will Barbero. I hope you agree that, played through a treble booster and a Cat Studio One valve amplifier, it certainly sounds the part. Well, that's all for this video, so thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.